Hey everyone, it's Stephanie. I'm sitting in our home office. We have been working hard to make over this whole space, and one of the first things that I did was take out the carpeting and paint the concrete floors. Now, some of you probably think I'm crazy because we had perfectly good carpeting in this room, but I am a carpet hater. Every one of our bedrooms has this light tan carpeting, and you can just see every dirt spot on there. So I wanted to get rid of it. It wasn't in the budget to do a nice tile or wood flooring, so I decided to go out on a limb and try out this inexpensive alternative, and I'm super happy with how it turned out. Although it's not the easiest project, it saved us a lot of money and it fits the space perfectly. So I recorded the whole project so that you can follow along and rip out your ugly carpeting too.
These are the tools that you'll need to rip out your carpeting and paint the concrete floors. Step 1. Remove all furniture from the room. Step 2. Tear out carpet and carpet pad. Start in one corner and begin peeling up the carpeting. With your utility knife, cut the carpet into shorter, more manageable pieces so you can carry and dispose of it easier. After the carpeting is removed, remove the carpet padding. Step 3. Remove tack strips. The tack strips are lined throughout the edges of your room. They're nailed into the concrete, and this is what holds your carpeting tight in place. Be careful when removing these because they're very sharp. I used 2 hammers to remove the strips, but I would definitely recommend using a wrecking bar. It's a more efficient and heavy-duty tool, and it'll go much faster. When you pry these out of the ground, they'll leave holes in your concrete, but that's okay because we'll fill these holes in later. Step 4. Clean off paint and adhesive. This step was the most time-consuming and annoying. You never know what is underneath the carpet and carpet padding. Most likely you'll find paint splatter, sticky adhesive, cracks, and holes. But if you use this paint stripper for concrete, you should be able to get up most of the adhesive and paint. Can't get everything up, we'll come back with a sander and a scraper later. Step 5. Fill holes and cracks with concrete filler. Sweep up the room so you can clearly see all of the holes and cracks. Use concrete filler and a putty knife to fill in all visible cracks and holes, and make sure to let this cure overnight. Step 6. Sand down or scrape high spots and leftover paint/glue. Before starting your sanding, be sure to put on a mask and safety glasses. It's also a good idea to block off any vents in the room and open windows so you don't get dust throughout the rest of your house. With your hand sander, sand down any high spots of the concrete filler. Make sure that the concrete filler has had enough time to dry. Also, take this time to sand down any leftover paint or high spots from the carpet glue. You can also try using a scraper to clean up the high spots and some paint. I wasn't able to get up all of the paint, but my concrete paint ended up covering everything with 2 coats. Step 7. Analyze trim. Once your carpeting is removed, check out your trim to see if you can keep it in place or if you'll need to remove it and lower it. If there's a large gap on the bottom of your baseboard from the carpeting, you'll need to either remove it completely and then lower it after the floor is painted, or you can add a piece of shoe trim to your baseboard after the floors are painted to hide the gap. Luckily, our trim was installed first and then the carpeting, so there wasn't a big gap. The gap was small enough to where I could add a bead of caulk around the bottom to make it look seamless. Step 8. Clean concrete floors. After sweeping and vacuuming the floors, I got a bucket of dish soap and water and mopped the entire floor. After your floor is entirely cleaned, it would be a good idea to use a tack cloth to get up any final dust and dirt. Make sure your concrete is completely dry before you start to prime. Step 9. Tape baseboards. If you're planning on keeping your baseboards in place, use painter's tape to cover the bottom of your baseboards. This will make painting and priming much easier. Step 10. Prime concrete floors. I used Behr concrete and masonry bonding primer in the clear finish. For this step, I used a roller with an extended arm. Follow the directions and dry times on the can. When priming and painting, be sure to start in the furthest corner from the door and work your way towards the door. You don't want to trap yourself in the corner. You can either pour some primer directly on the floor and roll it out, or use a paint tray. Step 11. Paint. I used this Behr Porch and Patio floor paint, and I was even able to customize the color. I chose this warm gray color called Park Avenue, and I ended up putting 2 coats on the concrete floors. I used a microfiber roller cover that has a 5/16 inch nap for a smooth finish. Make sure to allow a few days before putting anything back on your floors. Follow the directions on the can for dry times. Step 12, apply masonry sealer. I did not use a masonry sealer for my indoor concrete floors, and they've held up great so far. For outdoor concrete though, I would definitely use some type of sealer to protect it from the weather. If you are painting a super high traffic room without using a rug, I would definitely suggest using a masonry sealer. Step 13, caulk trim or reinstall trim. If you removed your baseboards earlier, now's the time to reinstall it. I went around and applied a thin bead of caulk to the bottom of my trim so that you don't see any gaps. I also touched up my trim with some white paint to cover any scuff marks. This made my trim look bright and brand new.